My sister entered the bookstore and turned straight to the vinyls. Ha ha ha, was my thought the first time she did this. Then, whatever. And a few weeks ago, seriously? I turned and headed upwards on the escalator, leaving her. I tilted my head down as the ascent began. My eyes half-interestedly scanned the panorama below. The assorted shelves filled with miscellaneous books, the latest mangas, the young adult novels, who knew? I continued scanning lazily until I laid my eyes upon 4 world globes, placed in a familiar corner near the escalator I was on. Memories flashed. It was 5 when I had entered this Barnes & Noble with my dad on a summer day. Papá, ¿y esta biblioteca? No es una biblioteca, es una librería. A bookstore. It was the same to me, a building with books. Or also those 4 little bluish spheres tucked in a little corner next to the escalators on the carpet floor. I pulled my dad towards them. Why were these at a library? My dad initially resisted, but he quickly assented. We made our way, sitting on the carpet, my dad taking one of these in his hands and spinning it gently, observing momentarily before explaining that this was a globe, like a mini Earth. A mini Earth. Well, it seemed to me. It was blue and colorful. Different patches were painted with different shades. I recognized some names. China, the United States, and as my dad proudly pointed out, Cuba, a tiny little spot on the Florida. Que chiquita. And what was this? I couldn't pronounce it. Azerbaijan. Over the course of other visits to Barnes & Noble, our time there consisted of world globes. La capital de China? No sé. Beijing, my dad would answer, annoyed. Soon, however, it became more common that he would ask, La capital de Alemania? And I would answer, earning a high five, Berlin. Soon, however, the trips ended. From my 6th birthday that year, to my jubilant eyes, my dad entered on a bright evening, the familiar colorful blue sphere in his hands, letting out a heartfelt laugh as I jumped out of my chair and greeted him at the door, taking the globe gently into my hands. My childhood literally consisted of hours of these sessions, formerly held with my dad, only with the globe itself now. Sat in my room, the globe on my desk, I'd tap on a country, say China, and I'd learn their president, back then Hu Jintao, and their catchy anthem. Russia's, however, was my favorite. I learned that Japan had more cities than just Tokyo. Yokohama, Osaka, Nagoya. These little dots Googling generated countless images of bustling cities, inhabited by millions of people that I thought looked Chinese, but I was learning were not. I became fascinated by these foreigners. They hailed from these new places with different languages and cool national anthems. The new kid from China didn't speak English? That was even better for me, his own language was sufficient. Soccer is universal too. It even came the day that my knowledge of the cities, rivers, and countries, leaders, and populations was tested. It was one of those days that one couldn't help but smile. I had beaten all the 8th graders at my middle school's geography bee, and I would compete at the state level in Tallahassee. I went home that day, and I looked at my globe, paying it admiration, and, oh my goodness, my reflexes saved me from tripping at the top of the escalator. I was upstairs now. I stopped momentarily to collect myself, and I headed for the dictionaries. Yet, externally prompted, my legs brought me back to the railing, my head peering over, giving a final look at the few globes they had at the corner. Only now there were 3. Somebody must have had taken one. I broke into a dumb smile and let out a laugh. As I made my way back into the room on that cold December night, I laid eyes upon my little globe, still inhabiting a prominent spot in the room, a homage to 3 things. First, to my own curiosities, and to those of other little kids who bugged their dads and thought blue spheres were cool. Second, to my childhood, not just staring at the globe in the room by myself, but my friends, Hussein, Li Jialang, Rishi, Hyungil, and Hans. How fascinating. Indeed, we all inhabited that little blue sphere. And third, the globe was a homage to my sister, looking for the vinyls at a bookstore, because she thought something was interesting and required further attention. She had found for her own little world globe. Thank you.